Fortunately, the figure does not weigh 100 kilograms, so shipping was cheap. Hi and welcome back to the channel. I'm Steven from X Kurogane Studio today with a Blue Archive scale figure review. And I know I'm kind of late with this one because this figure came out in June last year, 2025. So this is almost a year later. But the reason why I'm reviewing her today is because number one, I have always wanted to check out this figure because of her 100 kilogram thighs. The second reason would be, I found her at a really low price in Mercari, Japan for pre-owned unit. Well, pre-owned on paper, but the figure looked really brand new, pristine condition. So I was like, why not? She was going for 13,800 yen or so for a pre-owned unit in excellent condition. But the seller was on Mercari, Japan, so I had to make use of a proxy, which is these channels and these videos sponsor for today, JP Fans. JP Fans is a proxy service that allows you to buy anime figures or any other Japanese merchandise from a Japanese seller that does not ship overseas. For example, sellers over in Mercari, Japan, Amazon, Japan, and a few other places. So you can copy and paste a link to a product which you like into their search engine, or you can also directly search for the figures you want using their own search engine. It works either way. And most importantly, when you do buy something and they are being shipped to their warehouse, they will provide you a free photography service where you get to see what the condition of the figure looks like before they forward it to you. So you can buy from multiple different sellers, combine ship it to address. I purchased this Yuuka together with another Blue Archive figure, Hibiki by Golden Head Plus, and these two scale figures together cost me like 5,500 Japanese yen to ship via EMS to my country. So their shipping rates are pretty reasonable. So do check out JP Fans if you're interested. In fact, please do sign up for a free account. The process is free after all. And when you do sign up using my link down in the description below, you will receive quite a few shipping coupons to go towards your first few purchases. I believe it is $86 worth of coupons. So thanks a lot to JP Fans for sponsoring to this figure review. And back to this figure in front of me, we are looking at Good Smile Company's 1/7 scale Yuuka. From Blue Archive, official price for a brand new one is 17,182 yen before taxes and shipping, and released in June last year. So I paid just under 14,000 yen for her, a saving of 5,000 yen there. As for the height of this figure, including the base and also the halo on top of her head, somewhere between 19 to 20 centimeters. There may be some measurement errors on my part, but if you deduct the base and the halo, closer to 17 centimeters, which at 1/7 scale is about the right dimensions, especially for this sitting pose over here. So speaking of the box, you know what? I have purchased so many figures this year in 2026, and it is only April. But this is one of the prettiest boxes I have throughout this year. Among all of the figures I purchased, this is a very attractive looking box. Yeah, it is transparent, but all these design elements, I love it. I think packaging is important because a very attractive packaging can attract people to purchase your product, especially when it is displayed in a physical store. However, being a full plastic box, this means that not much protection for this figure is available. I mean, yeah, the front panel over here is pretty soft. I would give a score of 7 out of 10 for this box. Speaking of the unboxing and assembly process, I just had to put the figure on the office chair, plug in the halo on her head, and slide in that pen into her left hand, and that was about it. Pretty simple. And it was that moment during unboxing and assembly I realized that Yuuka is left-handed. I did not know that. The figure is not exactly that stable because there is no magnetic connection between her underside and the surface of the chair, which is very severely deformed due to her 100 kilogram thighs. But fortunately, the figure does not weigh 100 kilograms, so shipping was cheap. At least the figure does sit rather securely onto this office chair over here. Unlike Anis, Good Smile Arts Shanghai Anis from Nikkei, that figure was terrible. All it takes is a little bit of shake and the figure will fall off the chair. The stability score I'm giving her is a 7 out of 10. Not any higher, 7 out of 10, which is still a very respectable score. And I would prefer if this chair is not being plugged into the base in this case, because I can display it without the base if I want to, which is nice. Now, moving on to the sculpt department of this figure, we need to remember that this is a rather entry-level scale figure, rather cheap by scale figure standards by today in 2026 or even last year 2025. And at this low price, I'm quite surprised by the amount of detail available on this figure. Of course, if we were to take a quick look at her face first, which is the most important part in any figure, it is identical to the official artwork. She looks exactly like your waifu Yuuka. So the face is easily a 9.5 or even a 10 out of 10. There is virtually nothing I would change about the face. Not to mention, her blue hair turns out to be a lot more detailed than I expected, both in sculpt and in paint work. So this figure does not feel like a figure that cost under 20,000 yen. It feels a tad bit more expensive, which I find it quite surprising. And it is one of those figures where you need to look at it in person with your own eyes in order to realize that this is a really well-made figure. And this is especially true for her outfit, her office outfit with that jacket over her shoulders. The name tag is very detailed, so you can actually read what was written on it. Same thing for the belt around her waist. You can read the words Millennium very clearly over there. So everything feels high quality with a lot of attention to detail, even though this is a lower cost scale figure. So for the sculpt department, I'm going to give her an 8 out of 10. I think Golden Head's Blue Archive Hibiki, I did not give her a score as high. I gave her a 7 out of 10, I think, because of that simple cheerleader outfit. And Hibiki's hair is not as detailed as this one. So Good Smile did a fabulous job with this Yuuka figure. And there is virtually nothing I would change in terms of the sculpt. No flaws to be found. No ugly gaps or seam lines. No scratches. And no glue leaking out from parts. Everything is perfectly put together. And the only reason why I did not give her a higher score than 8 out of 10 is because those kind of scores are reserved for 30, 40,000 yen figures that turn out perfect. Those very complex figures, right? So for a figure of this level, 8 out of 10 is a really good score. Moving on to the paint work, this is where this figure surprised me again, because Good Smile Company's official pictures, the ones you see in Ami or MFC, myfigurecollection.net, I feel like those pictures are not doing her enough justice because her blue color hair over here really pops. The amount of shading and weathering on her hair is very heavy-handed, not something I would expect to see in figures of Blue Archive characters, because Blue Archive characters are fairly simple designs compared to Azalane or Nikkei or even FGO. So to see a lot of additional detailing work done on the paint work and the sculpt is quite pleasant to see, because I can't say the same for many other brands that make Blue Archive scale figures. Maybe other than Max Factory. Max Factory makes good stuff as well. So speaking of the paint work, you need to remember that I purchased a pre-owned copy of this figure, so there might be issues or flaws created by the previous owner. But fortunately, none of that over here. I could not find a single scratch. I could not find any paint bleeding or even paint transfer. Everything is painted nicely. The paint work is an easy 8 or even 8.5 out of 10 for this figure. What about the base, right? The base is one of those cheap, hollow, lightweight plastic bases, but honestly, the plastic material is fairly thick, and the base design over here, they are staying with the same theme. They're following the same theme as the entire figure. The word Millennium everywhere, on the outfit, on the base over here. It looks nice enough that I really couldn't find anything to complain, right? The base is a 6 or 7 out of 10 maximum, but that does not mean that it is a bad base. On the contrary, I think this figure is such a good package that the only reason why I couldn't give it higher scores is because it is not a detailed figure, simple as that. And also, when we talk about the base, we also need to talk about this office chair over here, which I regard it to be part of the base. It looks realistic. It looks like a real office chair we see in your office, right? If I were to ignore the base over here and focus only on the chair is at least a 9 out of 10. It is that good. Heavy shading on the seat. As you can see over here, the areas with all the deformations from her thighs, darker blue color, Some brands, they will do a good job on the figure and then they cut corners on the base and on the supporting accessories. Not the case over here. So overall, as a figure over here, this Yuuka is something I would highly recommend over a simple pop-up rate. For example, your budget is limited, but you wanted a really nice figure of a waifu Yuuka from Blue Archive. As far as I'm aware of, she is one of the most popular characters in Blue Archive waifu material. So for waifu stuff, you need good quality. What other options do you have for good quality waifu figures like this Yuuka? There are 3 options. Number 1 is the one by Good Smile, this one over here. Number 2 is the Max Factory version, which I think is not bad, quite nice as well, if you prefer the pose and the outfit on that one. And the least impressive one is the one by Wanderer. Yeah, the picture I'm putting on screen right now. This Wanderer version of Yuuka, bargain bint like crazy. You're looking at 10,000 yen brand new. I'm not joking. 11,000 yen brand new, pre-owned maybe 7 to 8,000 yen. Nobody wants it for some reason. And I don't even need to buy that figure to know why she is inferior compared to this one and also the Max Factory version. You just need to go to myfigurecollection.net and check out user pictures. I really feel bad for people who bought that Wanderer version at full price because the quality and the detail is like 2 or 3 levels below what Good Smile Company is offering over here. Of course, if you wanted that figure because it is way cheaper than this one, under 10,000 yen, you can get one. By all means, go ahead and get it if price is a big factor to you. But for a balance between price and quality, I think this is one of the best options out there. Max Factory's version is not that heavily discounted, a few thousand yen more than this one, but still a good buy regardless. So this figure over here strikes a good balance between price and quality, and for that reason alone, she comes as highly recommended as far as Blue Archive Yuuka figures are concerned. I hope that you found this review helpful and informative. If it is, please do give this video a like and subscribe to this channel for more anime figure content every week. Until then, thanks a lot for watching and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.